A very warm welcome to all of you. A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're joining us. We welcome to a very special masterclass today. We have a very special guest with us. Before we welcome our beautiful guest today, thank you. Gargi, would you like to introduce a beautiful, beautiful guest today? And then we're going to start with our meditation. Yes, Gargi, floor is all yours.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Today we have a very special guest with us. We have a beautiful goddess and a voice many women have already heard of, and you must have heard of her beautiful book, um, Sitayan. So we have a beautiful goddess, Dena Merriam, with us. And she's not just an eminent peace activist from US. However, she has worked in the interfaith movement as a vice chair of Millennium at World Peace Summit of Religious Leaders held at UN in 2000. So she has been working for like 25 years in this field. She founded Global Peace Initiative of Women, GPIW, in 2002 to bring spiritual voices to address the global challenges, and especially to encourage women in this field, especially in the Eastern spiritual cultures. And she received her MA from Columbia University in 2014. She received the Nivano Peace Prize for her interfaith peace efforts. And not only that, she has authored many books. Her first book was My Journey Through Time, a spiritual memoir of life, death, and rebirth. And the other one, Sita, and as you know, the untold story of Sita. And then When the Bright Moon Rises, to Dance with Daikinis is another book. And not only that, she has been a great speaker and specially associated with PSSM. A lot of times she has been as a guest speaker in our movement at mega meditation summits, and a lot of times in our workshop she has been here. And thank you. We welcome Dena Merriam. Welcome to over to you, Dena Merriam, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm always happy to share my experiences, which I write about, and to offer whatever teachings have come to me through the years. So it's always a pleasure to be here with the PSSM family. So thank you for keep inviting me back. I think we're going to begin with a meditation now, and then I'm going to do some readings and some explanations of my personal experience of the readings that I do.
Wonderful.
Yes. All right. So today, I'll be leading you all in meditation. Let us, ma'am, would you like to lead the meditation or shall I begin? Go on.
The meditation.
Thank you. I request you all to kindly find a comfortable spot wherever you are, completely relaxing your body, and invite yourself to be with yourself for the next 20 minutes. Kindly remove spectacles if you're wearing any, fingers into fingers, and gently cross your legs. And with your next breath, simply observe the natural rhythm of your breathing. how the breath is going in and how the breath is coming out. Just being with your breath. last 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. With your next breath, come back in this physical reality. Gently unclasp your hands and place them on your eyes. And gently open your eyes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your presence, your energy, and the beautiful meditation. Stage is all yours.
Thank you for that beautiful meditation. It's always important to begin a session by turning inward and experiencing the divine within, which is the theme of this next hour. Can everyone hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sound is okay. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience and then do some readings. A few decades ago, when I first began to experience memories of my previous birth, it was very intense because it wasn't just, oh, I was so and so. I began to relive that life, hear the conversations, see the people, and go through all the emotions of that life. And then after some time, that took about a year where I was sort of living in two realities, two time periods. I went back to the life previous to that, and it was the same thing, experiencing all those emotions and relationships. And so it went back and back and back, one life after another, until I reached an existential crisis. Who was I? Who am I? Because I realized that just like I'm no longer that Sonia or that Elizabeth or that Devaki or that Mira, soon I'll no longer be Dena. And this personality, this form, will just be another in a long list of personalities and forms. And yet I'm still so identified with this personality, with this life that I'm now living. And so it really sent me into such a profound sense of then who am I? If I'm not this personality, then who am I? And of course, it takes a long time to really find the answer to that question. We're just on the journey. When we find the answer to the question, we've sort of arrived. But the experiences that I had were profound teachings. Not only did it raise the question of who am I, but it also changed my whole relationship with what we call death. Because you see how many times we've gone through that experience and how that place is more of our home than this place is. Each time we come here, we're in a different place, and yet we keep returning to that astral field from which we come. It gave me a much deeper understanding of the law of cause and effect, which those of you who read my books know is a major preoccupation of mine, to understand how this law of cause and effect works across multiple lifetimes. It gave me a much deeper understanding of the yugas, of the time periods, and just the whole illusion of time, because I could find myself, initially it was just in the past, and then I began finding myself in the future. So it's, where are we in the time period? Are we in the past, sometimes in the future, sometimes in the present? Time collapses. So there were many, many questions raised which fueled my spiritual quest since that time. Now I want to read a little bit from a short section from my book, To Dance with Dakinis. This is the story of a life I had in Tibet in the 12th century. And most of the story covers that life. But then there's a death and I'm reborn in India in the 13th century in a small village. And my name is Devaki. And I befriend two Kashmiris, Shivites, named Sulabha and Pandiji. And this is a story Sulabha tells me about her first meeting with her guru, who was a Kashmiri saint. Sulabha smiled and said she would tell me a story of her Guruji. Soon after we first met her and gone to stay with her in the mountains, she stared at me one day and asked in a most serious tone, "Who are you?" Even though I had introduced myself days earlier. Thinking she was a bit forgetful, I stated my name again, but she shook her head. Then I mentioned my family background and where I came from, and she shook her head again. I told her of my spiritual practice and went on, describing all the many aspects of who I thought I was. But she continued to shake her head. I was perplexed. Every time I would come before her, she would ask me the same question. Patriji seemed to be amused by this exchange and watched the whole interaction as it unfolded over several days. Finally, she said to me, "Clearly, you do not know who you are. Go find out." She sent me into a tiny hut in a pine forest not far from her and told me not to emerge until I had discovered who I am. She said food would be provided each day. I went into that hut and stayed as the weeks turned into months. A year passed. During that time, I saw many of my past births until I found the one where I had sought to be her chela during the time of Sita when she was with her guru, Sage Maitreya. That was a beautiful remembrance. And I recalled that her guru had asked her the same question, sending her off for a lifetime of retreat until she found the answer. After this memory returned to me, I had a dream vision, much like the one you had, Devaki. In that vision, I dissolved into the whole and experienced the most intense explosion of joy and bliss. That was my experience of Shiva, but it didn't last. When I came back to my normal consciousness, I was myself again, Sulabha. But I didn't want this identity anymore. I wanted to be that, not this, she said as she pointed to her body. I wanted to live in that sublime consciousness all the time, but I didn't know how to achieve it. Soon after, my Guruji came to me. I looked at her sadly and said, "Guruji, I still don't know who I am." Then I recited all the names I had and the lives I remembered, the many births, but I knew that none of those were my true identity. I was no longer that one personality or the other one, and I didn't any longer identify with Sulabha. So who was I? She looked at me compassionately and told me it was time to come out of the hut. I wondered why I hadn't yet discovered who I was, but she explained, "You briefly experienced your true self, but didn't realize that is who you are. Meditate on that which you perceived. It doesn't matter when you attain the full realization, as long as you keep asking the question. This will guarantee that one day you will know." Before she left her body, my Guruji called me to her and asked me again, "Who are you?" This time I looked at her and smiled, but I didn't respond because I had no name for that which I am. She chuckled and told me to keep meditating. That's all we can do, is to keep meditating until we know who we are. When people used to come to my guru and with a problem and ask him, what should I do, Guruji? The advice he always gave was go meditate. He wouldn't say, do this or do that, take this job, marry this person. He would say, go meditate. Because the answers are all within. And the more we can cultivate that inner life, the more we are in tune with our higher self and receive the guidance that we need. So now I want to do a longer reading from a book that I've been working on called Sita's Yoga, the Yoga of Awakening. Some of you may have heard this chapter before because I have done readings on this chapter. It's the second chapter, and it's about the yoga of transcending identities. And so much is about identity because I know, I experience it. We have moments where we are experiencing that sublime reality. But for most of us, those moments don't last very long. And we come back and we're faced with all of the demands and duties of our current life, our current personality. So this book, which I never intended to write, I was actually in the middle of writing another book about the future called Memories of a Future Life, when I suddenly had a dream and was directed to write this book. And throughout the book, the one who was with me, guiding me the most, was Mahavatar Babaji. Many of you know Mahavatar Babaji. And when you read the book, you might come to see why that guidance was there. He's always been a strong influence with me. But he became more real in the writing of this book. So the book is not the first time I'm writing about a story that is not my own. It's the story of a village woman, a very high soul. When Ram and Sita took birth, many high souls took birth with them for a number of reasons. There was special grace, special dispensation. When an avatar comes to earth, there's special dispensation. And those who have just a little bit of karma left can often free themselves from those earthly attachments during the time when an avatar is on earth. And in addition, high souls come down to help the avatar achieve the mission because a collective effort. And in the book, I explore a lot how the relationship between the individual and the collective, how every individual effort adds to the collective. And everything is about the collective consciousness, what we are putting into that, whether we're putting into our shadows, our fears, our angers, or whether we're putting into it our light, our joy, our higher awareness. So this woman, whose name is Devani, is a village woman, a very high soul, who takes birth in a village not far from where Sita goes when she leaves Ayodhya to raise her sons. And this woman, from early on, has contact with the one she calls Devi. She has dreams of her. She receives guidances from her. She knows to be attuned with the Devi. She doesn't think she's anything more but a Devi in the celestial world. Until one day she's walking in the woods gathering plants, herbs, and she meets Sita. And it suddenly realizes that her Devi is an actual living person. And so she assumes that she's a great rishi. How can this great rishi, she must be a great rishi, how else can she enter my mind and give me the guidance and talk to me and come to me in dreams? She must be one of the great rishis who were living on earth. It's known that there were many great rishis living on earth during that Treta Yuga. And so she assumes that she's a great rishi. So she follows Sita back, and she hears Soma calling her Mata. And so for many who've read The Untold Story of Sita, this is a sequel. And for those who haven't read it, I think it still will make sense. So she says, during the course of that year, I saw Mata 2 more times, walking to her cottage in response to a strong inner call that I heard. Each time when I arrived, she was standing outside, clearly expecting me, and each visit was the same. She, Soma, and I prepared food together in silence, cleared away the cooking implements, and then she and I sat for a while as she answered my unasked questions, responding to issues that arose in my meditations and my home life. And then I left, and each time new insights, new understanding unfolded within me. In the days that followed each visit, an amazing array of spiritual experiences would come over me, drawing me deeper into the interior world. During my visits with Mata, there were no lofty speeches, no profound explanations of spiritual realities. I describe my interactions with her as a gradual inner unfolding, for it all took place on the inner field. It was like the slow opening of petals on a flower. First, the outer petals fell away, then the ones that appear next. But there were layers upon layers still to open before I could reach the nectar in the center. I'll pause here for a second just to describe my own experience. Many of you who are close to Patriji will relate to this. When I found my guru as a young woman of 20, he had already left the body. And a number of my friends were running off to India to find their guru, Nimkroli Baba or Satya Sai Baba. And they said to me, you need a guru in the body. And I said, I'm already in love. I'm a married woman. Don't try to seduce a married woman. I found him. And at first, it was very difficult as a young woman not to have my guru in the body. And I learned meditation. I received my Kriya. I listened to many teachings and read all of his books, everything I could find. But still, I wanted that physical presence. But the more I meditated, the more I attuned myself with him, and he would come to me in dreams and give me teachings in dreams. And I realized what a gift it was that he was not in the body, because I wasn't drawn to his personality. I was connecting with him on a deeper level, which is the true inner connection. He often would say, when I'm not in the body, I'll be able to help you even more. And he would say, don't come to see my body. Connect with me on the inner plane. It's all about the inner plane. It's all about the inner work. And the outer can often be a distraction. Now, I still love to hear stories of my guru's interaction with the devotees. There's that human part where we like to hear those stories. But I know the deeper truth is that inner connection. So in this story, Devani first makes that inner connection, and then she finds Narayani on the outer plane. And so she struggles a little bit with how to relate to her. So I'll continue with the story. About a year after my first meeting with Mata, I was in the forest gathering plants when I came across two middle-aged men who seemed lost and were debating how to find the way out of the forest. Approaching them, I asked if I could help, explaining that I knew the area well. They told me that they had come from a town quite some distance away and were trying to find the Maharani with a petition. The Maharani, I asked in surprise. Why would you be seeking her in these parts? One of the men responded, we are told that her cottage is on the other side of this forest, but which side we don't know, and the path seems to lead us in circles. Some years earlier, rumors had spread that the Maharani had left the palace for a life of retreat, but nobody knew quite where or why she had left. Some said it was to give her children the freedom to roam about as she had when she was a child in Mithila, to grow up close to nature. Others suspected that her captivity had harmed her health and caused her to withdraw from the demands of palace life. And yet others said that she hadn't left the palace at all. She just wasn't seen very much. Why are you seeking the Maharani? I suddenly asked, thinking it strange that two townsmen would attempt to meet her. One of the men smiled and replied, Ayodhya is far, and we know that the best way to reach the Maharaja is through the Maharani. Whatever comes to her attention somehow reaches him. Our petition is about a serious matter regarding a forest near our town, and she's known to care deeply about forest life. Well, I can't imagine that you will find her anywhere near here. I haven't heard a word of where she might be living. The men thanked me and, determined to continue the search, began to walk away, when the thought hit me that Mata could help them. Wait, I called out. I know someone who can help you find her. She's a great, great rishi, perhaps the most, well, I don't know how to describe her, but she lives not far from here. If anyone can help you find the Maharani, it is her. They were pleased, and one of the men sighed in relief, saying, Then do lead us to her. Nobody has been able to help us thus far, and we must reach the Maharani. For a moment I hesitated, wondering if I should lead them to Mata, not quite sure if I was doing right by her, as she seemed to prefer a secluded life. But they appeared to be desperate to reach the Maharani, and who else could help them? Mata surely would not mind. So I directed them down the right path and even led them part way. When it was time for me to turn around, one of the men asked, Don't you want to meet the Rishi yourself? You seem to have great reverence for her. Shaking my head, I replied softly, I will wait until I am called. I returned home that day without giving the matter another thought. Mata was so kind that I didn't think she would mind at all helping these two men find the Maharani. Several months passed, and I was called to a town some distance away to bring medicines to help the birthing process for the women there. I loaded a cart with the right plants, and my husband accompanied me as we left the town. After delivering the plants and counseling two women in the town on how to prepare the medicine, my husband and I planned to return to our village. Before leaving, I went to the market to see what was being exchanged. To my surprise, there were so many items that I had never seen before. I picked up a few, thinking to trade for them, but then put them down, realizing there was nothing that we needed. They will just be another distraction, I said to myself. I was standing at one of the stalls when a man approached and greeted me. Aren't you the woman we met in the forest who led us to the Maharani? He asked in a warm tone. Turning around, I recognized him right away. Greeting him in return, I asked, Did you find her then? Did the great Rishi help you? We never found the Rishi you spoke of, but we found the Maharani, thanks to you, he replied. We followed the directions you gave us and came upon a clearing with two small cottages. A woman was standing at the gate who knew exactly why we had come, but she said the Maharani was resting. She was about to turn us away when we heard a voice from inside the cottage. Soma, let them come. After all, I have called for them. She then emerged in the doorway, the Maharani herself. I had seen her once in Ayodhya and knew for sure it was her. Thanking us for taking the journey to meet her, she sat with us for quite a while, asking many details about the forest matter. Then she said she would bring the issue to the Maharaja's attention, and it would be addressed. She insisted on feeding us before we left, and then asked the woman called Soma to help guide us back to our town. So, thanks to the directions you gave us, we were able to complete our mission, and the forest matter has been resolved. I didn't respond, as I wondered if the men were speaking truth. It sounded to me that it was Mata they met, not the Maharani. I was perplexed and asked, Are you sure it was the Maharani who you saw? He chuckled and replied, How could I mistake her? My brothers and I traveled to Ayodhya for the coronation celebration, as so many people did from throughout the land, from the many villages and towns. There we saw the Maharaja and the Maharani. Even though there were throngs of people and we stood at a great distance, we could see them clearly. It didn't matter how close you were. Everyone seemed to have the same experience, a close-up view and a personal interaction. He smiled. I will never forget that day because as we stood there, I was sure that they were looking directly at me. Later, each of my brothers told me that the Maharaja and Maharani had looked directly at them and smiled. Other townspeople said the same thing. It seems that everyone had a very personal experience. Ever since then, I have felt a bond with both, so I was not intimidated in the least by meeting her this time. She made me and my brother feel so at ease. It was like greeting an old friend. After we spoke to her about the issue for which we had come, she said you were there at the coronation celebration, and I knew that you would take special care of the forest near your village. That is why I've drawn you here. The matter will be addressed. Think of it. Among the throngs of people who came to Ayodhya then, she remembered me, even though I stood at a great distance. How astounding. When they repeated the Maharani's words, a great sense of upliftment came over me, as well as the feeling of Mata's presence. Could it be, I wondered? No, impossible. Then I chastised myself, instructing my mind not to wander into useless avenues of thought. What does it matter? I asked myself. To me, she is Mata, and it doesn't matter who she might be to anyone else. After all, didn't she tell me that as I see her, so she will be? Perhaps it was a trick of the mind, and these men thought they were sitting before the Maharani. My husband spoke sparingly on the journey home as he was tired from the travel, something we rarely did, and I was happy for the time to reflect. Along the route to the village, a disquietude came over me. When we finally arrived, I made my way to my meditation corner and sat there for quite a while until I heard her voice asking, "Why be surprised? Don't we all hold many identities? I knew you long before I was the Maharani, and will know you long after. Don't be sidetracked by disguises." Her words made me wonder if Mata had not disguised herself as the Maharani to help the men. But if that was so, how would she have gotten the message to the Maharaja? And the men said the problem had been solved. I concluded that my limited mind could not resolve my question, so I did my best to put the matter aside. I trusted Mata completely and knew that whatever she did was for the best. Months later, I went to the forest to visit my favorite elder tree, whom I had not visited in quite some time. Lowering myself to the ground, I leaned my back against the wrinkled trunk, remembering all my early attempts at meditation, which now came more easily since my meeting with Mata. "You were my witness and my support then," I said fondly to the tree as I gently brushed my hand over its bark. Its branches seemed to sway in response, and laughingly I said, "I know you understand me, and I understand you." Then after a pause I whispered, "I get the feeling that this may be our goodbye." Don't know why I spoke those words. They just slipped from my mouth. Perhaps it was because the tree was old, and I knew that months might pass before I would have a chance to visit again. As it happened, a storm broke the tree a few weeks later. I drifted into meditation, and I felt Mata's presence very strongly. Her love flowed to me in mounting waves, carrying me into a most joyful serenity. Quite some time passed, and when I opened my eyes, I found Soma seated beside me in meditation. When she heard me stir, she also opened her eyes. I began to rise to offer pranam, but she put her hand on my arm and indicated that I should stay seated. For those who haven't read the untold story, Soma is Sita's attendant who follows her into her retreat. "Mata is not with you?" I asked, surprised to see her there alone. She shook her head. "She sent me to you." After a pause, she added, "You have some confusion about identities, and Mata instructed me to answer your questions." "What questions might you have, my dear?" By the slight smile on her face, I was aware that she knew my questions. I was silent for a few moments, then asked, in a slightly trembling tone, "Who really is Mata?" "Who do you think she is?" I didn't answer, so she answered for me. "As you see her, that is who she is. To each one, She will be different. I don't understand, I murmured. In truth, your question cannot be answered. If you want to know her different identities, her many appearances, I can tell you that, but they are not who she truly is. Is she then really the Maharani, the wife of our Maharaja? I asked hesitantly, almost embarrassed to presume that the one whom I adored and who had befriended me might be the Maharani. That is one of her identities. She's also the mother of Luv and Kush, the daughter of Janak Baba, the Rajkumari of Mithila. She is the protector of the forest, the plant and animal life, the people and beyond, all that lives. What more do you want to know? I didn't respond, and she continued, when you look at the night sky and see the multitude of stars, numbering beyond any count, you are viewing just the barest part of what lies out there, and all that vastness is just the hem of her skirt. In truth, this whole visible universe is her garment. The universe is beyond this visible one. Grander and more magnificent are the jewels that encircle her. She is the essence of all, coming into the world of appearances on rare occasions for a specific purpose. While she is here, she is also there, as are you and me. Don't think this form of yours is who you truly are. It is just one of your appearances. While you are here, I also see you there in the celestial world and know you by another name. That is the true you. You exist in many places simultaneously, my dear, just as Mata does, only you have closed off your awareness, as most people have. If the Mata is the Maharani, then why is she living a simple life in a cottage near the forest? Soma chuckled. Who ever said Mata's life is simple? Her life is more complex than anyone can comprehend, as she is in so many places at once, guiding beings on more than just this planet, without ever moving. But that is not difficult, since she is a manifestation of the universal intelligence, at one with everything, which is hard for most people to fathom. It is not necessary to know who Mata is, but you will know in time. It is enough to receive her love and give that love to everyone and everything. That is all she asks, nothing more. If Mata is what you described, then who is the Maharaja? Ah, who is Ram? She let out a great sigh, and then her eyes lit up. A question to which there is also no answer. But I will attempt to describe them, for I cannot speak of one without speaking of the other. You might say they are like two suns circling each other, an inseparable pair, shining together in equal measure. As part of their play, at times she becomes like the moon reflecting his light, and at other times he is the moon reflecting her light. To watch them play and dance together through the cosmic ethers is the ultimate joy. They embrace in the fullness of unity and then allow the appearance of separation to come over them for the perpetuation of the manifest worlds. But he is the Maharaja of this land, I whispered almost inaudibly. That he is, but that is not who he is, she chuckled. Which Ram do you want to know? Which Sita? All, I murmured. Sita the mother is tender yet firm, giving her sons room to explore and roam, yet ever watchful over their well-being. All her efforts are to awaken in them love and a sense of care and responsibility for all that lives. Sita the wife is attentive to the smallest details of her husband's life, supporting him and counseling him in all he does. Yet never for a moment does she surrender her dignity or place as his full partner in life. To do so would demean him. Sita the friend cares for every detail of our life, aware of every aspect of our life, aware of every detail, helping us to progress on our spiritual journey, watching over our spiritual progress. Sita, the Maharani, is the guardian of the people in this land and all life that exists within it. In the people, she seeks to awaken a higher purpose. In the animal and plant worlds, she protects and guides them upward in their awakening journey. Her cosmic form I cannot describe. There are no words for it, but that form of hers can be experienced when one has fully awakened to her being within oneself. Now I will describe him. Ram, the father, seeks to awaken in his children curiosity about life and the courage to meet every challenge. He is patient and continually urges them to aspire. Ram, the husband, is adoring, filling himself with Sita's love and returning the same. No aspect of her well-being escapes him, as she's never out of his thoughts. Ram, the Maharaj, is attentive to the needs of every person in the kingdom, making every decision based on the well-being of the whole, never placing one group or individual above the others. He's the model of a dharmic life, as is she, and together they set an ideal of what a true partnership can be, a friendship and love of the highest order. You may see them as two beings, as two solar bodies, or as two cosmic beings. It doesn't matter. The essence of their being is love, because love is the foundation of all that is. It is love, an expression of divine magnetism that brought this universe into existence, and it is love that maintains it and will withdraw it, all that is, into the cosmic self when the play is done. It was love that drove Ram and Sita into the forest for so many years, enduring physical hardships for the sake of helping the forest communities advance. It was love that sent them into Lanka to free their devotee imprisoned in delusion, and to free his followers who had been captivated by his illusionary powers. And it was love that sent Sita into the forest for what you call a simple life. Love for Rishabhrigu, who long ago unknowingly cursed Narayan to know the pain of separation from his wife. Soma stopped speaking and closed her eyes. She remained that way for quite some time. When she opened her eyes, I asked quietly, "So that was the cause of the separation?" Soma nodded. "It is not publicly known, because that would cast a cloud over that esteemed great soul, and neither Ram nor Sita would allow this. Narayan took on that curse to free Rishabhrigu of his anger, but he can't be fully free until the curse is fulfilled. I once heard Sita say that the Rishi performed a great service because having to fulfill the curse made her realize that the era of cursing must end. Ram will now establish a system of justice independent of the sages that is needed for society to advance. Sages also have their predilections, their emotional responses, which can weaken their clarity of sight. Words are not enough to describe who they are. One must experience that reality." Soma closed her eyes and drifted into meditation. I did the same, and within minutes felt myself merging with Soma's consciousness, experiencing what she was describing as I heard her words internally. I will share with you a very personal story of how I came to know them. I've been with Mata since her childhood, but it was not until after her marriage that I came to truly know who she is. It was as if through their union, the reality of who they are became more apparent. We had just come to Ayodhya, where we were getting adjusted to a new life. Since the marriage, I had not had the opportunity to spend much time with Sita for personal conversation. There were so many people around and many demands on her. When I first set eyes on Ram and Mithila before the marriage, I saw him in a blaze of light, and I could not help but wonder who this wondrous being was. Yet I never voiced this question. But after we came to Ayodhya, the question continued to haunt me. In the day, I saw him as the Rajkumar, interacting with his family, an attentive husband to Sita. But at night, when I closed my eyes, I would see him as I first did, in a blaze of light. After we had been in Ayodhya for several weeks, I had the opportunity to be alone with Mata. The other servants had retired for the night, and Ram had not yet come to call for her. I had just finished helping her change for more formal wear. I had taken all the jewelry and put it away, and was about to take my leave when she asked me to stay. She laid out some cushions on the floor and sat down on one, indicating for me to be seated on the other. I sat down in front of her, and looking into her eyes, wondered why she had asked me to remain. Then the question again arose, who is Ram? Her response was internal. I heard her voice from within. He is the undivided self, the self in all. Beyond time and space, he yet resides in time and space, as there is no place where he is not. His name is the cosmic vibration that brings everything into being. It is inscribed in every element, and just by reciting that sacred name, one can awaken the consciousness that resides in all, in every speck of dust. Yet truly he has no name, no form, but you can find him in all forms and names, as there is nowhere that he is not. Without him, I am nowhere to be found. Without him, with him, I am found everywhere. But one cannot know Ram through words alone. One must experience him, become one with that, awakening that one within your own being. This is how to know Ram. Don't look outside, Soma. Find him as the very essence of yourself. As she spoke internally those words, I was lifted into a supernal reality. All thoughts evaporated as I sank into a deep ocean of bliss, losing all consciousness of the outer world, aware of only that, of Ram, 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 that great cosmic self which is reflected in all that is. Within that self, I saw all universes floating, turning, changing, evolving. I saw past, present, and future contained within, the beginnings of the worlds infinite in number and their endings, and the new beginnings, the endless rounds of evolving life. And I was part of that evolving life, not separate, but one with it. It was extraordinary, more wondrous than the mind can imagine. I would have remained in that state forever, but could not, for I was called back to the outer world. When I opened my eyes, it was not Sita who sat before me, but Ram, and I could not suppress the question that arose internally. If that is Ram, then who is Sita? Closing my eyes again, I heard the internal voice, but it was the voice of Ram, not Sita. There is no Ram without Sita, for she enables me to come into being, to express myself through the multitude of universes, through ever-changing forms of life. She is the love that creates and maintains all that is, the dynamism, the magnetic flow, the magnetic energy that flows through all. Without her, I'm nowhere to be found. With her, I'm everywhere, in everything. Seek her, and you will find me. Seek me, and you will find her. We are inseparable, the undivided one, yet there is nowhere to seek, because we are in all that is. Look within, and you will find us residing there, waiting to be awakened. His words again lifted me into a supernal reality, and once more I was immersed in the unending ocean of joy. I found myself by Sita's side, passing through corridors of space and the spaceless realms, beyond the flutterings of thought and self-awareness. I was she, and she was me. There was no distinction. I had awakened to the reality beyond name and form, to the one consciousness that abides in all. Call it Ram, call it Mata, call it the Supreme I. At the first rays of dawn, I opened my eyes and found myself alone. I sat there for hours until I heard the door open and saw Mata enter, dressed in her royal clothing. I had no words. and could not move. She approached me, and our eyes met in a knowing embrace. With a smile, she extended her hands to help me rise to a standing position. "Come, Soma," she said lovingly. "We must get ready for the day ahead." So, finding the divine within. There is nowhere to seek because we are in all that is. Look within, and you will find us residing there, waiting to be awakened. Now, we know this conceptually, but the goal is how to realize it, how to live in that consciousness. And that is the spiritual journey, coming into greater and greater awareness. The beautiful thing about my experience, as I'm writing this book, I'm receiving the teachings and I'm beginning to live more consciously as I'm applying it to moment, the things that I have to deal with in my life, because we all have life situations, families and work and external realities that we have to deal with. And the beautiful thing that I find in looking at the life of Sita is she shows us how to live in multiple realities at the same time. You can have the most divine experience in your meditation, but then you have to carry that experience into preparing your meals, into caring for your families, into doing your work. And for most of us, that brings us into the illusion of this external world being the reality. And that's why we have to keep coming back to meditation as much as we can during the day, even if it's just for a few minutes, to keep returning to that inner reality, because the outer reality has such, when you think about it, what is it? It's not solid. It's all space. It's all atoms that are just moving very rapidly, giving the appearance of matter, and our senses that give us the appearance of something solid. But it's not what it appears to be. And we may know that conceptually, but we have to keep striving until we can hold that consciousness of being one with the divine, of not being separate, of not being a separate personality, of not being in this, having this name and this form, because it will in a short period of time be just like all the other names and forms, a memory, a dream that we've had. So that's what this whole book is about the different practices during the day that can help us, as at one point it is said, to purify the hearts so that we free ourselves from whatever residues of karma cling to us. And as we free ourselves from those residues of past patterns of behavior, past thought patterns, past desires, things that follow us from one birth to another, as we conduct our life more mindfully and free ourselves from that, we can live more consciously in the reality of who we are. So we have about 20 minutes left, and I'd like to open it for any questions.
Yes, Masters, feel free to ask questions.
Hi, Dena ma'am. This is Romila. I wanted to ask you, how did you remember? How did all these previous lives unfold before you?
I say that when I was born, the curtain never quite closed, and although I think many children carry elements of their birth just previous to the current one. I've seen that with my own children and grandchildren. And the more conscious you are, the more spiritual work you've done, the more you retain those memories. But for me, as a child, they were fleeting. I used to have dreams. I had just fleeting memories. And then when I got into my 20s and I started meditating, I began to have more fleeting memories, but it wasn't until I'd been meditating about 40 years that the memories became very concrete and vivid for me. And it happened organically. I never went to a past life regression. And people often ask me that question. And I say, don't go out of curiosity, because what's the point? If there's something you need to know, if there's something real, quite like I've recently met a woman who had a tragedy in her life, and she was really very deeply disturbed by this, and asked what I thought about her going to past life regression. And I say, there's no guarantee that the person you're working with is going to be able to help you in that regard. But if you are deeply troubled by something, I don't see anything wrong with going to it's like going to a counselor, to somebody to have to help you get to the seed. But I wouldn't go out of curiosity. That's what I tell people. Because what's the point out of curiosity? I think that one of the reasons I was able to see as much as I have been able to is because I've been able to understand the workings of karma over numerous lifetimes, how things that are not fulfilled in one lifetime can get fulfilled 2 lifetimes later. And I began to see it all as a beautiful unfolding, and that karma is not a law of reward and punishment, as some people think of it. It's about awakening. And the whole design is to help you awaken, so that, it's like if you don't learn a lesson one time, you'll get an opportunity again to respond in a more helpful way. It's like if you put your hand in fire, a child puts her hand in fire, usually you learn not to do that again. But sometimes you put your hand in fire again, you get burnt again. And some people might do it a third time, but eventually you're going to say, oh, I better not do that again because it's going to hurt. And so we get more opportunities to learn. And that's how I see karma. So for me, it happened organically. And I think it was for the purpose of sharing, for writing about it, which has become my sadhana in the last 10 years, is just to write about my experiences.
No, thank you so much. It is a beautiful experience, and I feel like your work has cleared so many misconceptions that I used to carry regarding Ram and Sita and their union and their separation, and I really appreciate getting a different perspective. So thank you so much.
Other thing I want to add is that I very much know that Ram and Sita are living presences, very active in the world today, because their energies are the evolutionary energies that help move us forward. And it might look, from our perspective, from the human perspective, is that evolution is a very slow process, because you wonder why humanity hasn't learned yet. Why do we still have wars? Why do we still have so much cruelty on the planet? You'd think we will have learned by now.
Right.
But you have to look in terms of cosmic time, in thousands of years, not just in decades or centuries. And so their work is the evolutionary work. And we are in an evolutionary moment. We moved out of one part of the cycle into another yuga, which is still in the early stages, and you can see the many challenges ahead, because we are now encountering the fast development of technology, the world of technology. But if we don't develop the spiritual wisdom to wisely use the technology, it's going to not end up in a good result. So there's a tremendous need now for spiritual evolution to guide the technological advancement that humanity is now experiencing. And so I feel that both that Narayan and Narayani, however you see them, whatever forms they take, Narayan and that evolutionary force is very present. For me, they take the form of Ram and Sita. For others, it might be more an abstract presence, a form. The beauty of the spiritual path is it's such an individual one. For each one of us, it's different. And there is a very intimate relationship with the divine.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good.
ma'am.
Go ahead.
Let's bring Pradeep. Please unmute yourself, bringing you on spotlight.
Yeah, it's Pradeep here. Am I audible, please? Yeah, pranam, first of all, ma'am. It's really wonderful to interact with you. I've read two books, Untold Story of Sita also I've read, and the Rukmani and Turning of Wheel, that also I've read. So the both books are really wonderful, particularly the Story of Sita. There are lot many incidences which you have described, which really relate and make it practical. In fact, there are many stories which sometimes sound to be like people will just say that these are only imaginary stories. So the way you have described it, it makes it really the real one. So I could relate myself and connected with the incidences, the conversations between various characters you have described in this. One small doubt actually I am having, like you are mentioning the conversations between Ram and Sita, Janak and Sita, and everywhere is so explicit, so clear. So, are they conversing in Sanskrit or what language? You could hear their what they are conversing, or it is the emotions which you are reading. That is a small doubt I am having.
So the beauty of the inner world is that everything gets translated into what you can currently understand. So that if I were to have a conversation with Babaji, it would be in English because it would get translated into what I can understand now. And so everything that comes to me gets translated into what I can understand. I'm sure they spoke a version of Sanskrit, an early version of Sanskrit. But because I don't know Sanskrit, I wouldn't be able to write about it. And so everything gets communicated to me. And that's true of all people who receive messages from the other dimension. It comes to them in the language because it's all transference by thought, right? Everything is by thought. And in the higher dimensions, it's all by thought. And then you translate that thought into whatever language you're speaking at that particular time. It's all a transference by thought. And in the Treta Yuga, there was a lot of transference by thought. And I talk about that in my new book because there were several qualities. I mean, what I hope to do in both books is to give a taste, a sense of what life was like in the Treta Yuga, which was a much higher consciousness. And there are some books that refer to what life was like. There was a much deeper understanding of spiritual realities. People understood karma. People could see the past. People could see the future. Not everybody, of course, but there were those who could, many more than today. It was a common understanding that things that happened to you were the result of a past. And also there was much more communication through thought. It was language, of course, but people could communicate across vast distances. They didn't need the iPhone. They didn't need technology. So in Dwapara Yuga, technology is developed. In Treta Yuga, technology is not needed because you have the mental powers to do what the technology does for us. So you don't need Zoom in Treta Yuga because you can be in communication with people across vast distances. And then as that mental capacity gets reduced, we develop technologies to help us, conduct our life. So in terms of what language, I'm sure they spoke a version of Sanskrit, some dialect of Sanskrit, version of Sanskrit, but it got translated to me in a language that I can understand. Oh, you're couldn't hear you. You were mute.
Yeah. So this was a kind of telepathic communications which you did, and the conversations are so clear. So it appears as if you are seeing a movie, in fact, which you are
I
depicted.
lived it. I felt like I was in a movie. With all my past experiences, I feel like I enter a movie and I'm observing the scenes unfold, hearing the conversations. I get transferred into that time period. And so I'm functioning in that time period. And when I say that it was very difficult at first, because I had to function in different time periods at the same time. I have to function in this time period and my current scenario, as well as functioning in it. The only way I can write is to go back in time and be in that framework.
So that's really a wonderful book. I have gifted it to many people. In fact, I felt so much connected with that one. It's really glad to interact with you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pradeep. Next, I would like to call Paridi. Here we have Paripatri.
Yes. Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much. Today, we are so blessed to have you here with all of us. And it's so wonderful to see you again. It's with your, as we all have experienced, with your energy, it's absolutely divine love that we experience with you. So wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Pari. It's wonderful to be here. A question was asked whether I had been to the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Not yet. I'm sort of waiting for it to be finished before I go.
And this is the gift you gave me. So I am absolutely mesmerized by it again, as we did with, as we all did with Untold Story of Sita. Today, in fact, I wanted to introduce another great master who is from that lineage of Sita. I would like to bring Shashi onto the screen. Shashi also comes from the lineage of Sita in her past lives, her ancestors. She lives in Bay Area. You're muted, Shashi.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, Dena Merriam, ma'am, and Pari, ma'am. I'm so glad to see you. I have met you in Dallas, and such a wonderful visit we had. And thank you so much. No words. Thank you.
Thank you, Shashi.
It's
Thank you, ma'am. Can you please explain me, Pari, ma'am, a little bit more about me, because I really do not have any idea about that link which one you're talking.
Yes, ma'am. So as Dina ma'am said, even in the book, that we all travel in groups. Even in the story of Untold Sita, how they have come back, and within the book as well, they traveled as group souls. So even in PSSM, we have so many group souls that are traveling together and are getting connected now as we see each other. So we may come from different countries, different backgrounds, different cultures, but we are all related in all of our past lives. And Dina ma'am is the ancestral pyramid master. So I am so happy that she is here connected with us. And her book is a textbook for all of us. So in PSSM, we have a list of textbooks. One of the most important textbook is Untold Story of Sita, that everybody must read. And only see here, I see Deepika holding that book. So it's everybody here, please get that book first. That is your textbook to read. If you don't read that book, you won't understand the concept of timelines, mental planes, telepathy, traveling through that, connection to Mother Earth, and so many concepts, advanced concepts. And I love how beautifully you integrated and woven into the fabric of that story. It's so amazing that how the book was written. It's amazing. So Dina ji, when are you coming to LA?
LA. I do have
Yes.
to come to LA. I have to think about when I can come to LA. I have to go to India again in January. I'm hoping, but I will try to get maybe later in the winter. I'll come to
Okay.
LA, but I'll certainly be in touch with you about that.
Absolutely. When you're here, we have to arrange classes. Here we have Gargi, Shashi, who you are seeing They are our core leaders in the California area. And we will be absolutely blessed to create sessions and organize
Wonderful.
sessions.
I'll give you plenty of notice.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Dena Merriam, ma'am, you have to come to Dublin. You have to come to Bay Area also, LA too. And we are waiting for you. And we, if possible, please come and join our MMS3 program in Los Angeles. So it is such a wonderful. I just want to add some more thing. My daughter, she read just now a book, Sitayan book, and she is impressed. And she really wants to meet you. So, so thank you so
Okay.
much for your wisdom and your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we have 5 more minutes. I see Geeta had a question. We'll continue with the last question. Thank you, Dina ma'am, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Nandini, can you continue?
Okay. Raquel, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, hello. It is an utmost pleasure to be in front of such a master. I wanted to share that I had your book in my list for a few months last year. I was invited to a book club that happened on Sunday at 7 a.m. But I wasn't joining that book club, all right? One night, earlier this year, I think it was January, I had a dream where I was told my name was Sita Pala. And I don't understand that. I just wrote that in my diary next morning, and then I checked on Google. Sitapala, apparently it's a fruit, and also pala means tears. So like tears of Sita. So I just wrote that in my diary. And then what happened one Sunday, I just woke up at 7 a.m. and I joined the book club. And that day they were reading the first uh, introduction, the first day for your book, for the untold story of Sita. So those were two very big signs for me that I'm very connected to your story. Every time uh, I hear the story or I read, I drift away in deep meditation. So I want to thank you and to ask you if you could bring some more light to these experiences I had this January, February. Yes. Thank you.
What's the question? Was there a
Excuse me?
question there?
Uh, yeah, mainly the question could be if you know anything about Sita Pala as the name, if it has any meaning for you, if it says anything to you.
I don't really know, except I think it may be that over the centuries, there were many women who shed tears over the struggles that on the outside Sita went through, a time in Lanka and then return. There were external struggles. What I tried to show was what was going on the inner plane and really what it was all about. But for many, many people who just saw the external, many women identified who had difficulty in their own life, identified with those struggles and shed tears. And so that's all I can say about that. I don't know much more about that, except it seems to awaken that sympathy that people felt as if Sita understood their struggles because she had undergone certain struggles herself, and so they could connect with her through the shared struggles of a woman's life, because it was, women have had many difficulties over the centuries that they've had to face.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raquel. Quickly, ma'am, do you wish to take rest of the rest of the questions?
Any more questions? I could take one or two more.
All right, okay. Romila, would you like to unmute yourself?
Sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how I can connect with you, Dena ma'am.
You wanted to connect with me?
Yes, outside of this forum, how can I email you? How can I speak to you on my own?
Do you want to email me, or do you want to send me
Sure.
you want to email me? Okay.
Sure, anything that you're comfortable with, I'm happy to.
I can put in the chat. I can send everybody my email. Or is WhatsApp better? Which do you prefer, WhatsApp or email?
I'm comfortable with both. Anything that you are, that will work for you, would work for me.
I just sent into the chat to everybody, anybody who wants to contact me.
Okay, I see yeah.
Just remind me that we met through this.
Of course, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Is there any other
Romila.
question? Any last question? I can take one more.
Malavari, Maresh, I'm just putting you on spotlight.
And what yuga are we living in now? And what yuga was Sita's time?
Sita was the declining Treta Yuga. So the declining cycle began about 11,000 BCE with the Satya Yuga. By around 6,500 BCE, the Treta Yuga was, and the difference between the Satya Yuga and the Treta Yuga. In the Satya Yuga, there was there was awareness of the oneness with the divine. There wasn't a sense of separation. So there was less of a veil between dimensions. That's why there are all these stories of people seeing the deities. People could see into those realms. There was an awareness of oneness with the whole. By the time the Treta Yuga came, that was diminishing. And that's when the mantras were given to help. The mantras were really not to initially to control external situations like the weather or to curse or whatever. It was to help the advanced souls regain the awareness that the Satyuga person had. But over time, even the mantras began to be used for other things. And like for cursing or for like healing or for external things, not just to regain the consciousness of Satya Yuga. So Rama and Sita lived in the middle of the declining Treta Yuga, which ended around 3000 BCE. We are now at the beginning of the Dwapara Yuga, which began around 100 years ago. And you can see
1100 years ago?
100. So the Kali Yuga ended about 100 years ago. Approximately 100, 200. And you can see by the advances in technology. And Dwapara Yuga is really the electrical age, the age of technology. And you can see the rapid development. It's supposed to be the age where humankind transcends space and conquer space. This is an example of that technology to conquer space. Zoom, the internet, space travel. I mean, if you would talk to a Kali Yuga person around 800 about Zoom, they wouldn't the internet or talk about going to Mars or to the moon. They would not have been able to understand. It was just simply beyond what they could understand. That shows you that we've moved into a different era, an age of technology. And we're just at the beginning. So the mindsets haven't necessarily changed. The technology's advanced, but we still have a lot of the Kali Yuga mindsets, which we're slowly trying to outgrow. Greater equality for all people, to get over, a domination of one group over another. We're struggling to outgrow that as a humanity. To get over the violent impulses, we're struggling to overcome that. And so there has to be a quickening of our evolution because the technologies are very powerful, that we have developed. And you can see how even the internet has a negative with all the misinformation that's out there, causing great polarization and division of people. And yet it's got a positive side. So until we can evolve, we're going to still seeing these negative uses of the technologies that we're developing. So we're at the beginning of the Dwapara Yuga, which is a 2,400-year yuga. So we won't get to the Treta Yuga for another 2,000 years. Got a long way to go. But in every yuga, there are people who live in Sat Yuga consciousness. There are people who are more advanced than the general population in every yuga. And in every yuga, there are people who are less advanced spiritually. So you have people, so the yugas are both an in and outer phenomenon. You can be at the highest stage no matter what time period you're living in. And yet you find people who are at very elementary stage in their human development, no matter what time period you're living in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramila. Thank you, ma'am. We'll take Maleshwari now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you, Dena Merriam, ma'am, for meeting you. And reading this book is an honor, Sitayanam in Telugu. Since after I reading this book, no matter what, it is a harsh winter, the place where I live, I get like a flocks of birds to the deck. Diverse birds, they come every day for food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then immediately I met you in Dallas, first Dhyana Mahayagna. In the 20 minutes of meditation, there was a wheel fixed type of thing. I have a polio in my leg. I did see that there was some transformation happened in Dallas in your presence. Since then, I'm noticing and I'm witnessing some change and connection with the Mother Earth and the universe, to the Prakriti Ma, Sita Ma, La drama energies. Thank you so much. Love you.
Very glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing. That makes me feel that it's worth all the effort to hear your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dina ma'am, Maleshwari has been, I have to introduce her properly. She is our total rock star of PSSM. Since she came to Dallas for the 2 years back, she has influenced not only her family, but the place she lives in. She lives in Iowa, Des Moines. And
Oh,
she recently activated the area with a meditation summit, mini meditation summit with 150 people joining in Des Moines, bringing all the big people of the city. And single-handedly, this lady, without money, without anything, she said, I'm going to do it. And she successfully made it happen. So a big clap
cool.
from all of us to Maleshwari. And it's all, again, as she said, inspired by you, inspired by your work, and taking this movement forward.
Very happy to hear that. Keep doing what you're doing. We all have to keep doing what we're doing. Eventually, we're going to see real change in the world by doing what we're doing. We just have to keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Pari. Love you. Thank you, Dina ma'am. Love you. Love you all.
Sending love to all of you as well.
Maleshwari,
right.
when is the next summit in Iowa? I will come.
Sure, ma'am. So from now on, we will plan more and more. The medical doctors are coming forward and they're asking us to have sessions because some of the patients, they couldn't heal through allopathic. So they're asking us to come forward and host sessions. So we're going to launch sessions in the hospitals soon.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you. All right, ma'am. However your time allows, we have 4 more hands who want to talk to you, however your time allows.
Okay, if we can do let's keep going. We'll see. I have a little bit more time.
All right. Miraculous Mind, you want to talk to her? Please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Till you do that, let me unmute Radha. Please. Yes, Radha. You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity to talk with Dena ma'am. Ma'am, after reading the untold story of Sita, I'm not able to stop talking about Sita ma. And it changed the perspective of how we used to listen and see Sita ma. And after that, it changed me the way I talk, and the way I see Sita ma. So I really want to say thank you, and I'm really very much sorry I'm not able to talk also, but the book helped us to see in different perspective what we used to listen and read and everything. But it really opened something different in my heart. That's I can say. That for everything. Thank you, thank you, Dena ma'am, for all your books. And it is making us to live by reading those books, like practically in a real world, along with Sita ma.
So glad. I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing that. So glad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Radha. Thank you for beautiful sharing. Yes, Miraculous Mind. Please start your video so that we can put you on spotlight.
Thank you so much, Dena Merriam ji, and thank you all masters. Just a few weeks back, I was in a webinar with Srikanth Garla. I was telling about this book, The Untold Story of Sita. It's a wonderful book my kids have gifted me, and maybe one day I should meet Dena Merriam. And today, luckily, I was able to speak to you, hear all the good things, and it is so inspiring. And thank you so much from bottom of my heart. It's like a divine thing, so much love, and I still need to read so much from that book, but with that all that unconditional love, the joy, happiness, connecting to the nature, it's really making a big change. And thank you so much, ma'am. It's a wonderful thing. And Paripatri was also, we have honored, and it was so nice to share her words of wisdom. And it's really a blessing. And everyone, all the masters here, the PSSM, being a homeopathy practitioner here, I'm from Michigan, and I'm trying to promote meditation, Anapanasati meditation, and Patriji's dreams come true across the organization level. So, seeking your blessings and sending lots of love to you and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Meghna, please unmute yourself.
Hi, ma'am. Thanks for taking time to meet with us. So I have two questions. First is how you got into meditation in your 20s, that early of an age. And then you said that helped you progress into like getting these visions about your past lives, and you were able to write the book. So I want to understand the beginning of the journey of how you got into meditation. And the other question I have is, do you know why you were born in a different country, like far away from India this time? Would it have been more helpful for you if you would have been born in India, closer to where Sita was born and her life happened? So those are two of my questions. I would love to hear from you.
Well, the beginning of my journey begins a long, long time ago, but I won't go to the beginning. I'll start toward the end, which was in my past birth. I happened to be in Germany when, at the very time that Yogananda was returning to India, he came to the US in 1920, and in 35 he went back to India only once to see his guru before his guru left the body, and he passed through Germany. And I happened to meet Yogananda at that time and was very inspired by him and wanted to come study in America with him because he was going back. He had his ashram in America. And I longed to, it's all in my book, My Journey Through Time. I longed to follow him, but I was stuck in Europe and the war broke out and couldn't leave. And he came to me in a dream and said he was coming to take me to America. And shortly after that, I died. And he came and said he's come to take me to America. And so I followed my guru to America. And it was a very good thing because I was able to, at a very young age, somebody handed me Autobiography of a Yogi. I recognized him and was able to begin meditation at the age of 20. And so it was my aspiration at the end of my last birth. Often the end of your birth sort of determines the course you're going to take, which is why as you get older, it's really important to be clear about what is it you want to do next. And so I really wanted the teachings, which I couldn't get. That was your first question. What was your second question?
So my second question is like, do you think it would have been
It was perfect. It worked out perfect. My karma was with the parents that I had. I was able to finish a lot of things that I needed to finish. Generally, we're born in the right place because we choose it in order to finish certain karma. And had I been born in India, I might not have been able to encounter my guru at such a young age.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for the answers.
Thank you, Meghna. Gargi,
Yeah, thank you so much, Dena ma'am. And the way you were speaking, I could feel all the energies. And when I started the session, because it's Sunday morning here, I was unsettled with kids and breakfast and everything. But as you spoke and as you were reading the untold story of Sita, I went into the meditative state. And it was so profound. I couldn't move my body, and I couldn't move my sight out of you. And it was so profound. And later, as you were speaking about when you finished the book, and then you were speaking those words, I could feel each and every word, and tears just rolled. It was so beautiful and profound. I'm so thankful and grateful and blessed to have you here. And I'm from Bay Area. Please, I would request anytime you are here in Bay Area, we would love to have you. We would love to conduct a session for you. So, and and online sessions, we would love to invite you again for the online sessions too. Thank you.
Happy to
Thank
do
you
that.
from the core of my heart. So much gratitude. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Gargi. Shall we close the session, ma'am? Or would you like to send last message to all of us?
I think the message is that we just keep meditating and keep living our life mindfully, purifying our heart, not allowing negative thoughts to come in. I think what Pari said about as a collective was very important. And I talk about that a lot in the new book, about the power of being part of a collective, a spiritual collective, and to tune in with that collective when you're meditating. So we're not just meditating alone, but we're meditating as part of a powerful spiritual collective. That's really an important thought that I want to leave you with when you do meditate, to tune in with that powerful collective of which you are a part.
Thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your message,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank
Well,
you,
everyone.
Deena ji, and to everyone who has joined in today. This is our ReInvent Masterclasses that happen every Sunday, powered by Shashi, Gargi, Nandini, Sandhya from the team. Thank you so much, guys, for making this happen. So every Sunday we'll have masterclasses, and we would love Deena ma'am to come back again soon to
Yes.
share more about this book now. I would love to hear some about the Dwapara Yuga and jump into that. So please share this information to all your groups, all your people who would love to come. Next week, we are bringing in Echo Bodhin Master, who is going to talk a lot about life after death. What happens life after death? So please join us. Until then, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And a big clap to Dena, ma'am. Let's all give a big clap.
Till next
Thank you so
time.
much, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.